What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 161 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my dining room. And today I want to give you all my NFL Divisional round playoff picks. Last week in the wild card round, I went 4-2. So let's see how I do this week. In these 4 games that we have, there's only 8 teams remaining. In the AFC, there's the number 1 seed Chiefs, number 2 seed Bills, number 3 seed Bengals, and number 4 seed Jaguars. And in the NFC, it's the number 1 seed Eagles, number 2 seed 49ers, number 5 seed Cowboys, and number 6 seed Giants. So we'll start with the Saturday game. It kicks off less than an hour. It's the 4 seed Jaguars taking on the number 1 seed Chiefs. The Chiefs had their bye week, and they'll face the Jags at home after the Jaguars had an insane comeback against the Chargers last week where they were down 27-0. And the head coach for the Chiefs, Andy Reid, he's historically good off a bye week, but the Jags could win this game. If they're able to run the ball and not turn the ball over on offense, they have a chance. But if people think that Trevor Lawrence could have 4 interceptions like he did last week in the first half against this Chiefs team and win, they're crazy, because the Chiefs team, they'll take complete control. They'll take what they're given from those 4 interceptions. And the problem with the Chargers last week is they couldn't turn most of those turnovers into touchdowns and only field goals. As I said, Mahomes and the Chiefs offense will feast if they get those 4 interceptions from Trevor Lawrence. Speaking of the Chiefs, they beat the Jags earlier this season where the Chiefs had a nice lead, but the Jags were able to make a comeback, but the Chiefs were able to pull it away and not give up a lead. So I think it'll be a close game, but I think late in the fourth quarter, Mahomes will put a touchdown drive together to seal the game away. And, it's hard to bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially when they're coming off a bye and playing at Arrowhead Stadium. So I got the Chiefs in this one, 34-24. As for the next game, the 6 seed Giants take on the number 1 seed Eagles. This is a classic NFC East showdown. And as a Cowboys fan, it makes me sick to my stomach that one of these 2 teams will advance to the NFC Championship game, but someone's got to go. And the Eagles are 2-0 against the Giants this year. The Eagles blew them out, smoked them completely a couple months ago. And the Eagles played mainly their 3rd and 4th string Giants. The Giants had nobody. They had no starters. The Eagles had a few starters in there, and they barely won that game. So it's going to be interesting to see how round 3 goes. And the Eagles had their bye week, and they're well-rested. But does that really help? Does, the team that's well-rested always wins? History shows that's not always the case. And Jalen Hurts has that shoulder injury he's been dealing with for about a month now. So is he 100%? Because if he's not, it could be a big problem for the Eagles. And, the thing with the Giants, too, in 2007 and 2011, they had a lot of luck, and they went on 2 Super Bowl runs. They won 2 Super Bowls when no one really expected them to. So can they do this again? The Giants can win this game if they successfully run the ball and not turn the ball over on offense. But it's going to be hard when they're going against an Eagles team that on paper are way better than them. They have the better QB, they have a better run game, they have a better wide receiver group, just overall a better offense, and their defense is also super superior compared to the Giants. But in the playoffs, we've seen throughout the history, the better team doesn't always win. And for me personally, I wish both teams could lose this game, but they can't. So I'm going to go with the Giants with the upset on the road in Philly in a hostile environment, and I got them winning 30-26. The next 2 games we have are the Sunday games. The first one, the 3 seed Bengals travel to take on the 2 seed Buffalo Bills. And these 2 teams, they faced each other a few weeks ago where the Bengals were up 7-3 late in the first quarter. Unfortunately, that game was canceled, but it was canceled for a great reason because the Bills' safety, Damar Hamlin, collapsed to the ground, needed CPR on the field. So it is 100% acceptable to cancel this game, or that game at the time, because the man almost lost his life. But luckily, Damar Hamlin is recovering. He's doing a lot better, which is a sigh of relief to a bunch of fans. Even if you're not a fan of football, just to hear that he's recovering after almost losing his life is just a big sigh of relief. And luckily for us football fans, we get a rematch between these 2 teams. Both of these teams have been on fire lately, been on great win streaks, have been on some great runs, and they're 2 of the best teams in the AFC. But unfortunately, one of them are going to have to be sent home. The Bengals are known for their high-powered offense. They could score at will, but their defense has been stepping up lately, especially the last game against the Ravens in the wild card round when they take a fumble for a 98-yard touchdown to the house. And their offense was a bit more stagnant in that game, but football fans know Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, that squad of offense can explode at any given moment. And Joe Burrow, he'll be down 3 starting O-linemen. They're all out to injury, but last season we saw the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl with a terrible, terrible O-line. But as for the Bills, they won a tight game in last week's game against the Dolphins, who had a third-string rookie quarterback who was drafted in the 7th round, starting for them. And the Bills also dominated that game early, but 3 turnovers by the quarterback, Josh Allen, he almost gave the game away. And the Bills' defense has not looked sharp either this past month. So which Bills team do we get? Do we get the Bills team where Josh Allen is playing like an MVP and the defense is playing lights out? Or do we get the Bills team where Josh Allen has multiple turnovers and the defense is getting shredded on the field? It's going to be interesting to see, but if Allen keeps turning the ball over like he has been, this Bengals offense, they're red hot. They'll capitalize off it every time, and it's tough to pick a winner. It could really go either way, but I got the Bengals winning this one 30-25. The final game is the number 5 seed Cowboys taking on the number 2 seed 49ers. This was a rematch of last year's wild card round. The Niners won 23-17. This was a game where the Cowboys had 14 penalties on offense, and they couldn't stop the Niners' run game. But I doubt we see that happen out of the Cowboys again this upcoming game. The Cowboys were able to stomp the Bucs last week. Dak had the best game of his career, arguably. But now they're facing a team on the road who's way tougher than the Bucs. They make the Bucs look like a Pop Warner team, and the Niners have just been red hot. They've won 11 straight games, but the Cowboys can do this, and the Cowboys can do this. Their keys to victory: they have to protect the ball on offense, don't turn the ball over, and on defense, they need to stop the Niners' run game, and they need to hit Brock Purdy. They need to make him uncomfortable. After all, he is a 7th-round rookie, so the Cowboys' defense has to go out there, hit him a bunch of times, make him shook, and make him realize that's what you are. You're a 7th-round rookie. But speaking of Brock Purdy, he's been playing really great lately. The Niners are 6-0 with him as the starter, and the Niners are just a very well-built team overall. They've had a ton of injuries, and they're able to plug in all these different guys, and they all step up. Their head coach, Kyle Shanahan's a genius. Their run game with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, very, very scary, very hard to stop. Their wide receiver core is a problem too, and the tight end, George Kittle, he's an absolute monster. He's had his injuries, but he's back to 100%, and he's been balling over the last couple months. And speaking of their defense too, their defense has been elite. Their secondary has been kind of questionable, but their front 7 is so good that it helps their secondary out at times. And I expect the Cowboys offense to attack that Niners secondary. But in order for the Cowboys to do that, their offensive line needs to be ready to block. They need to be ready to stop that Niners defense, especially with a guy like Nick Bosa coming at them. I just expect a great game between these two teams, but obviously I'm picking the Cowboys to win 31-28. So let's go Cowboys. Let's get this win and go to the NFC Championship game. So that's it for my picks for the divisional round. My lock of the week, it's kind of tough to pick. I would go Chiefs over Jaguars. The Jags could certainly win, but if I have to pick a lock, it's going to be the Chiefs. And my upset, I got the Giants over the Eagles. So thank you all for listening. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on my Instagram. Do what you can to like, share, and promote my content. And let me know your divisional round picks. Let me know what you think of my picks. And let's go Cowboys. Enjoy some football.